Hey, good morning, world. I get this often, people saying, and I remember saying it myself, but also, I'm doing everything I possibly can to get well. I've changed my diet, I'm doing, pacing, I've got rid of all the toxins, I'm meditating every day, I'm doing all these things to get well, and I don't understand why I can't get well. And my response is almost always, are you doing everything in a stressful way? Are you doing everything in a pushy way, in a needy way, in a stressful way, in the same energy? And I talked about this in a video the other day, that got you unwell in the first place. So I'm asking you that, if you're doing everything you possibly can, you feel like, to get well, what kind of energy are you doing that in? Are you doing that in a stressful way? Honestly. When my first book I wrote was Living a Life Less Toxic, and that was just after I got well, and that was kind of how I got well, being less toxic in mind, body and home. And when I wrote the second edition of it, I added a chapter at the end that I had realised I'd neglected the importance of when I wrote the first book. And the chapter was, are you making being less toxic toxic? Because I definitely was, and I believe that's why a big reason I stayed at about 80% for so long, because I was sitting down to meditate, making sure it's a certain amount of time, and just sitting there and basically forcing myself to try not to think for so long. And I was really, really quite stressful about the food, and all my foods, the chemicals in the house, the chemicals outside, all of that kind of thing, because I was convinced that this was the stuff, because it had got me so far, this was the stuff that was really important, and I made it stressful. I made it so that I was constantly in a reactive state about my food, the food I was eating. I couldn't possibly eat this and this, and if I thought something bad was in the food, then I'd almost have a meltdown, because I thought that would make me feel really bad physically then. But actually what I came to realise later on was it was all these thoughts that were keeping me stuck. It was all this stress that was keeping me stuck. This need to have everything perfect and do everything just right was exactly the same energy that had got me unwell in the first place. But also it was just upsetting my nervous system, my adrenals, everything. And in doing that, it means you're not then uptaking the nutrients you require from your food, because your digestive system is upset, and you're not sleeping so well, and all this other stuff. So if you really are doing everything you feel you possibly can to get well, are you doing it in a stressful way? Are you making being less toxic toxic? And if you are, then take a step back. Take a breather almost. Let it go. Have a holiday from it occasionally. Don't give yourself a hard time if you slip up. Do maybe some breathing exercises or some nervous system soothing exercises before meals, before sleep, before important things that are usually a little bit more challenging or stressful for you. This is like a massive part of becoming well, is to learn that we don't need to stress about every single thing in life. In fact, we don't need to stress about most of the things we stress about. Most stuff is out of our control, but we still stress about it. And this kind of, just this low level constant stress is making it really difficult for you to regulate your nervous system, to heal those adrenals, to, like I say, heal that digestive system and all the other things as well. So just feel into that. Are you doing that? If so, how can you start to undo that? Because That's the key. That's a massive part of becoming well again. Ciao for now.